What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to another episode of
Had to Set Damn.
This week, we are talking about a topic that has been heavily requested by all of you. I am so sorry, personal apology. I thought we did this episode already. Apparently, we haven't. But you done know the deal. We're talking about...
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, actually.
Hell yeah. Movie of the year. 100%.
Movie of the year. I'm saying it with my chest. Cecil told me, actually Jody told me to claim it. Guys, I'm saying,
Right.
You guys can say what you will. Comment down below what you think the movie of the year was. But personally, I think it's that. It's not really Barbie. It's not really Oppenheimer, I say.
I haven't seen Oppenheimer, but even if I had seen it, I already know Across the Spider-Verse would be my favorite movie because let's look at the timeline here. From 2019, right? When was the first one? 2019?
2018.
Sorry. 2018, we had the first one, and then it was this long-ass wait.
Yeah.
It was an underrated launch at first, right?
No one, and then they had a re-release.
Exactly, right? The first one came out. It was really good, but Sony did not market it. I did not know about it until I saw it months down the line.
No. For me, I knew it was coming. I knew it. I waited. I first saw the trailer came out beginning of the year, and it said, December. It was either October or December. I was like, damn. Okay. But anyways.
Yeah. You see, right. So it was a very... But they were, you see what I'm saying, though? Sony was very terrible at marketing the first one, right? They release it, and all of a sudden, no one knows about it. Cool. But then it spreads through the most powerful way for something to spread: word of mouth, right? People are like, yo, actually, this movie is phenomenal. Yo, actually, this movie is something
and
special. The tracks in
Sunflower
blew up, right? This is Into the Spider-Verse, the first one, right? This is how we got introduced into this world, right, of the character Miles Morales, who we can delve into throughout this episode, right? And yeah, a lot of people loved it. So then they announced that the next one is coming out, right? And then they announced it's going to be a two-parter. And then we're like, oh, snap.
Let's see.
This is going to be
what happens,
right?
So and then... What? The trailer came out... When did it come out?
Early, it came out, sometime last year we got a teaser trailer. And then earlier this year we got a proper trailer for it. And the levels of hype were through the roof, right? Because clearly it took every step of the first one and it just exceeded it. In terms of art direction, in terms of animation, in terms of their whole thing. So if you haven't seen Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse, you're doing yourself a disservice. You probably got to get there and watch it now. But the whole thing is that it's a blend of many different types of animation, right? So every different world for every different Spider-Man has a different animation style, right?
But before that, I want to actually dive into how groundbreaking the first one is. This quick, second.
Because it was.
Yeah, 2018, it came out in one of the most jam-packed years for a comic book. That was an era.
Stacked.
You know what I'm saying? Black Panther, everything. Okay, no, Black Panther was 2017. But
we had a lot of movies that year, though. It was a pretty stacked year for competition. And you know what? No one expected it, to be fair. That's the thing. No one thought it was going to be good because it was coming from Sony. And Sony, as much as we love it or hate it, is very hit or miss with their animations, right? Some of them are knocked out of the park.
Very miss with their Spider-Man or Spider movies without the live action. I mean, before...
Yeah, man. I mean,
let's not talk about the Morbius. But anyways...
It didn't exist then. To be fair.
But when it came out... Think about it, when people were watching it, no one had seen that animation style that bigger in such a big screen.
Yeah, right. So what they did was, right, it was a massive endeavor, right? It was one of the most hugest animations they've ever taken, right? Because what they did was they would take every single individual frame and they would just draw it out, right? That doesn't sound like a lot. That's probably how most animation works. But what made it special is they made it feel like you're flipping through a comic book, right? The frame rates didn't match, right? It would jitter, it would stutter, it wasn't fluid, but it was fluid, right? It was a very interesting blend of 2D, 3D,
and the graphics around that supported. They had when someone would feel when you tap on something, it would actually show a comic book,
like the comic book, onomatopoeia sound thing is bam, 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 tap, 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 click, click, click.
So
beautiful. You could feel it, right? It was all coming together, and that it made you feel like you were in the comic book And what made it even more special, we're seeing a new Spider-Man who's my favorite Spider-Man.
Right, one of my favorite, like top 3 favorite superheroes actually.
Yeah.
Comic book characters.
Oh, he is my favorite. Everyone knows this. I mean, almost all my social profiles is
and
Miles
posters
Morales.
and everything is Miles Morales.
Right.
We have to talk. Look, just last second, that scene, the leap
of faith. Right.
One of the most iconic scenes that you'll ever see ever. Like,
it was a quintessential Spider-Man scene.
Dude.
Right. And fuck the haters who are like, Miles is not Spider-Man.
Whoa.
No, they can go fuck themselves, because you know exactly why you're saying that, right? Like, you just don't want to believe in the character. You don't want to believe in the character because, by all respects, he is the most Spider-Man we've had in a while.
Dude. Because
Right?
the Spider-Man story, the Peter Parker story has been so dated, or actually so static, that it's like for the longest time they've just made him like it's like the writers just hate him as a person. They don't want him to grow and live out and all of that and be young. They don't want him to like actually get older.
Spider-Verse fixes that though.
Dude,
right? So that's another thing, right? So with the universe of Into the Spider-Verse, the basic plot synopsis of Into the Spider-Verse, the first one is we're thrown into this world, Peter Parker has died, and this young, like, half Puerto Rican, half black kid from the Bronx,
right? No, Brooklyn.
From Brooklyn, sorry.
Dude,
I'm not New Yorker, okay? I'm sorry. From Brooklyn, suddenly, he's thrust into the role of Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
Because he gets bitten. The cool thing is, throughout that first movie, they lay so many little Easter eggs that you think are just Easter eggs for comic book fans. But then the second movie, the movie of the year, this year, Across the Spider-Verse, takes every single one of those Easter eggs and is like, you thought that scene of a bagel was just a random scene of a bagel? Plot twist, no, it is the setup for the next movie.
Exactly. You thought that, what's this thing, the spider, which wrote 42, is just 42? Nope. Also important for the
new
whole
universe,
plot for
right? So yeah, we got introduced to Miles Morales' character, and the whole thing that happens in the movie, in the first one, is that due to Kingpin and a super collider, a bunch of other Spider-Men from different universes are thrust into the same one, and that leads to some very interesting dynamics. We see different versions of Peter Parker, Penny Parker, Peter Porker, all the different versions of Spider-Man, most of which are alternate versions of Peter, right? But then we get a special one. We get Gwen Stacy as Spider-Man. Normally the one who is being saved by Peter Parker, suddenly thrust into the role of the savior. We get, Miles Morales as well, right? A character that I personally love because of the growth he undertakes and how different his story is.
Right.
But similar in its core feeling. Right. So every Spider-Man, everyone knows, with great power comes great responsibility. A very important character in their life dies.
Yeah.
Right? Every Spider-Man has had that. Right, be it Uncle Ben with Peter Parker, be it Peter Parker with Gwen Stacy, be it, like all Spider-Men have their characters. With Miles Morales, it's his Uncle Aaron, right? And that was huge. That was a huge thing. You could see, you could see a lot of how much this character, who really just does so much for him, meant to him, and then just when he left, how much of an impact it left on him.
Dude.
And then the whole core message in the first one of, as a Spider-Man, you always gotta get back up, right? We always gotta get back up, which eventually climaxes in the scene of the leap, right? The leap of faith. And all of a sudden, Miles Morales takes his own, right? And that's where the second movie starts off, right?
Dude.
We see Miles, it doesn't start off there, but in the second movie, we come into Miles and he's his own character now, right? He's in this role.
And one thing that actually, bro, you actually are on one.
I'm sorry, man. I love this character.
You literally just been blasting through. I'm just like, like there's so much passion within it. But like zooming into the second one thing that I wanted to talk about, which was so groundbreaking about the whole episode, about the whole movie, was how relatable the story was. Basically, any story, any person who feels like, okay, now they're growing into themselves and they feel like they're being casted out and not included, and just trying to find your own identity. That's what like the whole movie was about. and it expanded on that in one of the most beautiful ways possible in terms of the color, the animation.
Every scene was a screen. Every scene was a wallpaper.
Everything you like. Anytime you pause the movie,
It's a wallpaper.
It's a wallpaper.
You could take. I mean, I have so many wallpapers on my laptop, or something like that, just from pause scenes because it was just that gorgeous, right?
And with that, the animators, bro, the animation style, because the last one was great, was beautiful,
It was
amazing,
fantastic.
and they stepped it up by, like, usual animation movies usually have one style that they go for, or even two, maybe, just to be. And sometimes they even mix reality with, which never really comes out great. But this movie was such a, because they named it perfectly Across the Spider-Verse, it was so many different styles. You saw Lego styles, you saw so many old-timey Spider-Man. It was the Spider-Man movie of all Spider-Man movies. It was an animation movie of all animation movie with the amount of people there were.
They had over 2,000 separate animators for this one film. What's so interesting, you mentioned the Lego universe. There's a kid who's just a really good animator, right?
Yeah.
This little Canadian kid. And they were like, yo, they like his stuff. So they went out and contracted him just to do that whole thing. That's so cool. All the voice effects in the Lego universe are done by someone's voice. No, it's not the kid, but it's just the voice actor's like, toot toot. He's like actually just making the voice. There's no sound effects in that universe except
beautiful.
the sound made by the people themselves, which is so cool because that's like you playing with your toys, like toot, toot, toot,
and they put that in the real movie.
And they made it into the movie, right?
And then also including the real, actual, other spider people within it, talking about the Easter eggs of Doctor Strange in the MCU.
They were mentioned as well because this whole Spider-Verse movie, right, the core of it was that the universe is bigger than what we were first introduced to in the first one.
Yeah.
But that all of them are interconnected in some ways, right? Like there's a core story. There's the canon event that all Spider-Men have to experience, right?
Yeah.
Someone close to you has to die, right? Your police captain is probably going to die too, right? Which leads into an interesting plot point when Miles' father gets promoted into the police captain, right?
Yeah,
it's
and they know he's gonna die.
Exactly, because it's like, oh snap, wait, what? Every police captain, or someone close to Spider-Man tends to die? What's gonna happen now? I already lost my Uncle Aaron, right? And now you're telling me that my father is probably gonna die as well,
even though by
a villain that I
created.
I didn't create, but I am very interlinked to.
Yeah.
Right? And I think we should actually get into just in a second, the villain of the movie, right?
Yeah.
But so the world of Across the Spider-Verse, right, kicks off with Gwen Stacy, right, and her universe.
Yeah.
Which, can I just say, is some of the most beautiful animation I've ever seen in my life.
Beautiful.
Right. It takes this very interesting blend of colors, right? There's always at least 3 colors you're seeing
with
on screen
the
at once.
emotions that are being felt within the scene.
They react to the emotions of the character Gwen, right? So whenever she's feeling sad, all the colors are cool and cold, right?
Yeah.
When she's getting a hug from her dad, the colors in the screen warm up, and
when there's a tense scene, it's like they zoom out and they see it, it looks like a complete painting artwork.
Exactly. So there's, again, if you haven't seen the movie at this point, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah.
I'm not going to hold back. All right. So there's a scene, Gwen Stacy's father, obviously Captain Stacy, a very known character in the Spider-Man universe, right?
Yeah.
Still a captain in that universe as well. But now Gwen is the Spider-Man. And his whole thing, because Peter Parker died and he thinks Peter Parker was killed by Spider-Woman, he's
going after Spider-Woman.
He's going after Spider-Woman very heavily. And in one of the core scenes that happens in that movie is that Gwen Stacy is suddenly confronted by her father as a cop, right? He's there, he's aiming a gun at her, right? And he's like, stop what you're doing, right? And then Gwen obviously is like, oh shit, takes off her mask, and then he sees that who's the Spider-Woman, and you see on him, it's this really cool thing. The colors, you can see the conflicted sides of him, right? There's the father side of him, which is shown in the red. There's the cop side of him shown in blue, and in the middle is this him in this purple and this haze, and he's you can see the emotions in his face, and it's almost watercolor painting, and he's he doesn't know what side to pick, and then he chooses. You have the right to remain silent, and then this whole scene turns blue. And Gwen is like, what? And
the whole thing, like the whole movie in itself, like in my opinion, showed me as much as like, okay, as a capitalist, like the capitalist guy that I am.
Rose. Can you just not? Can you stop your dick rider just once?
It's the beauty of creativity and capitalism working together. Because that right there was artwork. It was artwork made for money, and I love it. I love it. Come on, just the combination of animators coming together.
What I would say,
and working and just creating something so beautiful, which made $690 million.
No.
That is like in itself is such a testament of where animation, where creativity can go, and capitalism can help take it.
Jump me into
at the end of the day,
topic.
those 2,000 animators needed to be paid. I'm sorry, just that all coming together as Spider-Verse to see where we can actually take everything was the most, it's like one of the most, in my opinion, the most beautiful movie as a comic book fan, as anyone who likes looking at beautiful things.
Okay, you know what? Let's take a short break. We'll be right back. Cool? Cool.
Oh, this is sweet. This is a nice conversation. This took a very interesting turn.
Are we rolling?
Beauty.
Okay, so we're rolling.
Spider-Verse is that's cool. We're at right now, guys.
During this break, I had a long ass argument with this man, but let me get to my discussion points, right?
But wait, I'm saying this movie shows the beauty of capitalism.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Again. Right. Beauty of capitalism, my foot. Okay. Let me tell you exactly why. Right. Yeah. The first movie, why it worked out so well. Right. Yeah. Its marketing budget was low. Right. You can tell its marketing budget was low because no one knew about it. Very few people knew about it. Right. And then when it finally came out, right, and we finally got to see it, it spread through word of mouth because the people who made it were passionate about it, and the people who watched it could feel that passion. Right. That's why
there's nothing like they'd ever seen in an
nothing they'd ever seen before in the animation world, and it was nothing like they'd ever seen before in a Spider-Man story, right? It was completely fresh. So then the second one comes out, or we hear that the second one is being made. The first one spread hectically through word of mouth. We knew it was coming. We knew it was going to be good, right? 2, the same creators are there, the same very passionate creators are there. They're telling us that, no, they had an idea for the one, right? But because the idea was so intense, they had to split it up across 2 movies. That already tells me, like, oh, snap. They really want to give this the space it needs and the time it needs to go. Like what's happening in this episode. We've never taken a break mid-episode before, but we're giving this episode the space it needs. And then 3, right? The creators. I
actually want to talk about spacing within the movie, actually.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But like now the creators that are making this movie, right? They getting a whole onslaught of very passionate artists and animators who are attracted to them because they saw the first one.
Yeah.
Right? That is not the capitalist machine working. That is the artist's passion at work there, right?
Yeah.
And the reason why it sold so well, I think it almost made $1 billion this year.
Yeah, like, 690.
Yeah, 690. Shiza, that's a lot.
I wanted it to be more.
It made a lot. I'm sure it's more than 690. Are you not looking at US domestic only?
No, it's box office.
Yeah, that's domestic, right?
No,
global.
Global. Yeah.
Damn, crazy though. It made a lot though, right? I think it was in terms of animated movies, only behind the Mario movie. This year.
Yeah, it's not
either way, that is not the capitalist machine working. That is people resonating with the passion of the artists.
The story,
right?
passion.
Because there are plenty of things that the capitalist machine will fund a lot of money into, right? Yeah. 200 million, and then it's a flop, right? Flash, exactly, right? That
Shazam.
Shazam. There's a lot of movies that get
DC in general.
There's a lot of movies that get funded to oblivion, but then don't turn out anyway. So I would not say it's a product of the capitalist machine. I'd say this is a product of the artists actually doing something, right?
Here's what
cool.
No, you've been on it now.
Okay,
you've been on it. Here's what I say though. At the end of the day, capitalism only works when you fund the best people to create the best project.
Why is that a capitalist thing?
okay, it's not a capitalist thing.
Yeah, that's just a funding
It was
thing.
the thing that actually allowed it to work at the scale, at the level that it did. At the end of the day, to create such a beautiful masterpiece, as much as we can say that it was very much driven by the love of the first one and how groundbreaking it was, at the end of the day, Sony still needed to, like, you know, run the numbers. You know what I'm saying? Pay what needed to be, step it up. Because they knew that the money was there. They knew that people wanted to see that. And they brought that towards the screen. And I say that it's the beauty of capitalism working. Is
I would not say, you see, I think...
Wait.
Whoa.
No, you've been on it. You've been
Okay.
on it. It's because the right people, the right artists got to, how can I say, amplify the best project. And that's the beauty of the movie. I love it.
Okay. We both love this movie.
Yes.
But I would say, okay, listen.
Because think about it, if you have a crappy, or if you have a Michael Bay level director, okay, let me not say I love Transformers.
Okay,
1 and 2,
listen.
but
Oh my gosh.
if you have the gate kept, or the what's his name, director who's like, oh no, we love him and all that, even though he's not the best, he won't really create the best project. But if a person is truly passionate about a project and they go to the best source to distribute and create the whole thing, such as Sony, and who are able to, like, you know what, we're gonna take a chance on this again at a bigger scale, and it pans out, isn't that the best mixture of creativity and capitalism?
I would not say that is capitalism, right? And
Then what would you say?
Well, I'll end this here. We
Yeah.
should probably have a discussion on the different, like, economic systems that work out there, but I would not say that is capitalism. There's a difference between capitalism and business. You are mixing the two, right?
Okay, let's call it that.
Yeah,
Business in itself.
it is good business. It makes business sense, yes, but it's not necessarily a capitalist thing. It's just funding a business idea that you know is probably going to be successful, right? Like, you saw the results from the first one, you saw the reception of it, and now you're saying, okay, reception is there, the love is there, the artists are there, let's fund the next one, and we can invest more into it because we're probably going to get the returns out of that.
Yeah.
That is not necessarily a capitalistic thing. That's just a business. That makes a good. That makes
a capitalist.
that's what I'm saying.
Then what's the capitalistic? Oh,
That's what I'm saying. It's not necessarily a capitalist thing. Businesses exist even if it's not capitalism.
Yeah.
Right? Like, capitalist is not the only system in which businesses can exist. But that is way off topic. Let's get back to this movie, right? Right. So we said we wanted to talk about the main villain of the movie, the Spot.
Yeah.
Right? A villain I'm personally going to say was nothing in my head. Right?
Yeah.
Villain
At the start of the movie, that's what made
start of the movie in my head, because I've heard of the Spot before. It's just a villain of the week type thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's not really a headliner.
big bad, yeah.
Exactly, right? But no, they took this character, a random character from the first movie, right, who got hit by a bagel, right, and they turned that joke scene into
the movie, and
the main villain of the movie.
The villain got increasingly, like, at, like, what, the second act or after the collider explosion. I mean, the second collider explosion in
Mumbattan, Indian Spider-Man's universe. I
Then
love Pravitra Prabhakar, by the way.
Dude,
Amazing.
he
Indian
killed
Spider-Man.
it. He killed it. It was like, oh,
Chai tea.
chai is tea.
That's like saying, do you want me to get you some coffee? Like,
Yeah, but he just, like, after that scene, he was like, oh snap, we actually felt away, like, yo, this guy's actually crazy. This is
he is an actual villain, right? And you can tell that initially. And I think this is a cool thing about Miles' arc, right? He's still a new Spider-Man at the end of the day. Even if, like, he's come into his own in terms of web slinging and performing, he still doesn't know how to handle his villains. What's the cool thing about Peter Parker a lot of the time is he doesn't just stop the villains, he tries to rehabilitate them, right? That's the core thing with the Lizard, right? The whole thing with Dr. Connor is like, oh, snap, man, you know, I could have helped you. Or with Dr. Ock in Spider-Man 2, Raimi's one, right? It's like, you know, the whole time, he's not treating him as like a villain. He's trying to help him, right? Like, yo, dude, let me help you. And Miles hasn't gotten there yet, right? He's still on the, haha, bad guy.
Yeah, just knock him out.
Knock him out, chuck him out.
Done with it. I gotta get back to school.
Exactly. And Spot is a really interesting villain because Miles treated him like that. And because he treated him like that,
It made it
worse, right? So he, like, he spiraled out of control because, like, oh, I'm just a joke to these guys.
Yeah.
I'm coming here to your world. My life was ruined partly by something you did, right? Partly by something I did as well. But my life was ruined at the end of the day. And instead of you coming to me to help me, right, you're instead saying, hey, no, fuck you, I'm just gonna chuck you in jail.
Yeah.
Right? And you can see how he's like, oh, so
Malfoy knew this episode.
I'm sorry. You want me to be the villain? Fine, I'll be the villain. And that's how the spot gets created. And who's his first target? Miles' dad. That is huge.
Yeah.
That is huge, right? And the thing is, it's so funny. We rarely see him in the movie. He's the main villain of the next one. We know he's the main villain of this, like part 1 and part 2 across Spider-Verse. Next one is Beyond the Spider-Verse, but we know he's the main villain. But he's not the main story in this one.
Yeah.
This one didn't really focus on him. It just showed us that, it's funny, that's the thing. Even the movie treats him like a side.
Dude.
The movie treats him like a side. And then he's like,
something bigger is coming. It's just something that warms up. One thing that I really loved about the movie in itself is that this is the first movie that you'll ever watch where like the movie starts out and it's establishing a story for such a long time.
Yeah.
Like the first 30 minutes or 20 minutes,
It's
Miles
almost
isn't
like-
even.
yeah,
in
it's like,
it.
the
just
first
full
30 minutes, it's just
space.
Gwen. Just pretty much just Gwen.
And it's like all the opening, and when Miles had his stuff, the opening scene was like extended for like 30 more minutes to the point that the only Spider-Verse thing started like an hour
Into the movie, right? Like we only get glimpses of it with the new Spider-Man that are there. Oscar Isaac as Miguel O'Hara, right? I'm sure that man he's so moody, right? Miguel O'Hara is such a moody Spider-Man. I love him, right? But we get introduced to this Spider-Man's Way 99. Again, an Easter egg character that showed up at the end of the first one.
Dude.
Right? He was just an Easter egg, and they took the Easter egg and they're like, let's run with it.
It was the end credits.
Yeah, the end credit scene of the first one. They took the Easter egg and like, no, let's run with it. Let's actually do
Build
something with it, right? And they made him a core character. He built, the Spider Society, right? With all the different Spider-Men across the universe. Interestingly enough, Miles is excluded. Now, there's a really cool thing that I want to get to, but I don't want to really there's...
Just like mention it.
Yeah, I'll mention it, but
right?
there's a really cool moment of brotherhood that happens in this scene, right? Because Miguel has explicitly excluded Peter, right? Excluded Miles from Spider Society the whole time, right?
Yeah.
And everyone is for most of like Miles's introduction arc is Miles, no. Miles, don't do this. Miles, do this instead. Miles, be this instead, right? And he gets into Mumbattan and he needs to stop the collider from exploding again.
Yeah.
And Hobie, seeing Miles there, is one of the first characters to just be like, yo man, let me help you out.
Yeah.
Right? He's like, I think that was a really cool moment of Black
use your
Sword.
hands.
Exactly, it was a cool moment of Black solidarity. You just saw that's a brother,
right
and I'm
there.
gonna help him right there. Like, fuck everyone else here. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But forget everyone else here, but that's a brother, that's a little kid. I'ma look after him.
Yeah.
I'ma just follow him.
Shout out to Hobie, best character.
Hobie Brown is the best Spider-Man in that film.
And then one thing I really liked also within the movie is the voice acting roster. That was all-star cast.
It was. You got Haley Steinfeld, Shameik Moore, Oscar Isaac.
Adam Sandberg was in it.
Andy Sandberg was.
Yeah, you could hear
he
it.
was there as the broody Parker,
Yeah,
man, the very moody one. You also had Daniel Kaluuya as well.
Oh no, he killed it. He killed it. But the whole movie in itself was just beautiful beyond all measures. They killed it. They stepped it completely up. They shocked the world with the first one, and they took it to a completely other level with the second one. And I am personally glad, even though a lot of people are upset, I'm personally glad that there's gonna be a longer wait for the third one.
100%.
Because I'm like, yo guys, take your time to
take your time. They took their time with this one, and it shows, right? It was supposed to come out last year.
Dude.
And then they're like, no, let's push it back.
polishing.
Polishing it, like just a year of polish, and it came out this year. With the next one, a lot of people were upset that they didn't know it was going to be a part
two. Yeah,
exactly. And
For me,
I
from
get
the
it.
pace of the movie, I was like, ain't no way this is finishing.
Exactly. This
no
is
way.
part one. Am I dreaming?
Bro.
Dude, the soundtrack, Metro Boomin did something special with this movie. Just all the elements of it. Metro Boomin, James Blake, just all of them came together. ASAP Rocky, bro. They came together and they did something phenomenal with this one. Like literally, when I say everything that made the first one good got stepped up, I mean it to my core. Every single aspect of the first one that was good was stepped up. If you love the first one, there is no way you walk into the second one and you are disappointed.
Yeah.
Right? So like to yeah, let's like
Beautiful.
like what more can I say about this movie, man? What more?
Can't suggest it enough, guys. This has been a crazy. You have me at damn.
The movie
episode.
is the damn moment. That
The movie is the damn moment.
like there's nothing else I can say about it. Like, yeah, you should really check it out.
Yeah. All right. This has been another episode of
You Had Us at Damn.